It's the Jim and Terry Show. Jim is back in the Hobbit hole. He's in the chair. It's no longer empty in the corner, but it's occupied. Say hello, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where are we? All right, I'm here. Hey, hi, everyone.
Oh, you are here. Okay, I'm just watching the wave files, the waves on the shore go by.
We're just getting old and tired, staring at it like it's a TV show. Yeah.
Well, you've got your 3D glasses now.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got your bionic eye and everything's looking vibrant and alive. We finished last podcast talking about both of us sort of doubt whether a two-state solution is possible at this point. And I do not espouse the river to the sea as anything but an anti-Semitic slur and a desire not to have an Israel present in the Middle East at all. Let's go back out to take the view of what has happened to Ukraine as Gaza took over the world stage.
And don't blame the Jews for that, please. No. If you're going to blame anybody, blame Hamas.
Yeah.
It's not the Jews' fault that they find themselves in a war.
No. But let's go to Ukraine.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, so let's open up with the latest news, which is Republicans in the U.S. Congress and Senate, both houses, Republicans, do not support the next funding bill for Ukraine.
I don't have much respect for the Republican Party in the United States at this particular point in my life because they seem to be doing nothing other than just throwing roadblocks into everything that anybody else is trying to do. To not support Ukraine when you vowed you'd be there forever, same as Israel, by the way, but we're Ukraine right now. If you vowed you're going to be there, you will not let them down. I'm telling you right now, United States, my brothers to the south, and thank God for you, and all that, but you got to stick to your guns in this particular case.
I like thinking poetry. Stick to your guns.
Yeah. Well, you said you're going to be there for them.
Yep.
You said in the beginning that Russia cannot win this, and they can't. If they do, well, look out, world. I mean, we're just going to do it to ourselves. But you leave. You stop supporting Ukraine. And if you're going to stop supporting in a little way, eat humble pie, say we can't afford it, we need the UK, which apparently has stepped up great.
So is Germany, so is Poland, so is
I meant
Norway and Sweden.
I meant the whole union over there has stepped out.
NATO?
This is, not NATO, European Union, like the countries involved with that have stepped up. Still, you need the face of the United States to be there. They're the big brother. You asked for this. You, with all your pride, you're the ones that want to be able to be the crown within this jewel. The jewel within the crown, I should say.
You mean the U.S. within NATO, or what are you talking about?
The U.S. within NATO.
Okay.
You still got to be the big brother here. You still got to be the king, the leader, because that's what you wanted to be. That's where you've positioned yourself. You cannot abandon Ukraine, and you can't abandon Israel. Now, do I think they're going to? Well, have they abandoned anybody in the past?
Yeah, well, history is a son of a gun, isn't it?
Well, if they do it this time, I mean, why would anybody on the face of this earth trust them?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd just be stupid.
Okay, well, let's take the U.S. out of this discussion for now. It's just surprising to me that the party that used to stand for law and order, for the straight and narrow, back the blue, and our military is the greatest, is now...
And democracy is what it is just the absolute city on the hill, lit, glorious, don't let it fail.
There is no democracy in a Republican mindset at this point.
No, I agree.
But that's an aside. So that's the American snafu at this point, which is Biden supporting Ukraine, had Zelensky to come to the United States. And I thought it was an embarrassing display to have every single Republican refuse to budge.
They're all stepping in line, aren't they? This is disgusting me.
Well, we'll get to what they're stepping in line to later. For now, let's just say we got a problem in the West. We got a problem supporting Ukraine. Ukraine is paying in blood. Yes. They're paying in land. Yeah. And we have the convenience of sitting in our comfy seats and our comfy couches and watching this from a distance. It's like, and here's where I'm going with this, Pierre Poilievre said in his speech in the House of Commons this week, it's a distant land, far, far away.
Well,
what? I never thought I'd hear a Canadian politician, especially a conservative, because they stand for, as we said, law and order, the military, build bigger and better stuff for the military. Let's not underfund the military. And yet we have this, and I saw so many reactions on social media about Poilievre saying this stuff, reminding them that in World War II, there are many towns, villages, and cemeteries filled with Canadians who served in a far away land.
well, because you're serving more than yourself, more than your own land. You're serving an ideal, even. Like you're trying to do what is right. We know that Russia is not a democracy, nor is China. We know these countries are dictatorships or whatever.
Yeah.
Anything other than a free people.
Yes.
And we believe in freedom. America was formed for freedom, and now to belittle freedom, now to say we don't want that anymore, and that's almost what they're doing, and not supporting around the world. I mean, why did we go fight Hitler? Why not just let him go? Well, because it was a land far, far away, Terry, and a lot farther than today, because of we got more modern means of getting there.
So here's the irony for me, as a student of politics in Canada and the United States, is that there's a lot of parallel. There are a lot of parallels between what's going on in the CPC, or I could extend it specifically to Alberta and Danielle Smith and the UPC. A lot of parallels between republicanism, which is not a Republican or conservative party anymore. It's an ism. And an ism is an ideology. They are serving something. And it's not the values of, I never agreed with this guy, but Reagan, for instance, back in the 1980s. Mr. Gorbachev, take down this wall. I mean, those are markers in political speech that are, benchmarks of the good stuff that we are capable of when we work together. But that's not what's happening today in Canada, in Alberta, in Ontario, in the United States, in the Congress, in the Senate, Republican-controlled House Speaker.
Because there's no common good anymore.
There's no common sense and no common good.
Yeah.
You're right.
There was a time when crises came up, you didn't throw your president under the bus.
No.
There was a time you didn't
him.
put your prime minister under the bus when everything was needed, that you're unified as a nation,
yes,
where you can peaceably, and of course, Trump ruined that, the transition of power, for instance,
right,
where that was world renowned. Look how they can just, two completely different ideals, can come together and transfer power over, because the other ones will just say we'll work harder to convince the people next time. Now we say, no, I don't want to give it up.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you're all wrong. You have no right to have a different opinion. Yeah, and you cheated. And this is what we're finding absolutely everywhere. For years and years, I've viewed the Canadian Parliament as, don't tell me you're the loyal opposition. And that's whether it's liberal or conservative, I don't care who it is. Don't tell me you're loyal opposition. You're a pain in the butt, all of you. And you're just going to make things worse. You don't try. I would love to hear just once someone stand up and go, Mr. President or Mr. Prime Minister, our party thinks that's brilliant. What a good move. And if we're elected, we will follow through on that. We will actually do what you're saying. We don't believe you will. I can understand that. We don't believe you will, but
let's call for a vote on this. But that's unanimous.
Yeah, unanimous. A great idea, and we're right behind you on it. Yeah. And if you don't do this, by George, the people will know, and we'll do it. That kind of opposition.
I told you I'd vote for you, Jim.
Yeah. Not this throwing everybody under the bus in the weakest moments so that you got power. I'm sorry, it's foolish. You're throwing your own life down the toilet.
Just to calm you down.
Everybody, get on
Jim gets wound up so easily. I miss that, Jim. That's very good. I just wanted to bring back the focus to Ukraine, because in both countries, Canada and the United States, the Conservatives, the Republicans, have refused to budge on funding or extending funding for Ukraine.
They've
and
refused
I just find
extending-
it unusual.
They've refused extending anything for anything, especially in the United States. So that doesn't make that much of a difference. And I don't know who this time they're catering to.
Okay, let's get some fundamental points on the table. Is Ukraine waging a war to defend themselves?
Yes, but also,
But just yes.
Yes.
Is Israel waging a war to defend themselves?
Yes. Neither one started the war, by the way.
Did Hamas start the war?
Yes.
Did Russia start the war?
Yes.
Is Russia guilty of war crimes, as in genocidal tendencies, brutality, raping, pillaging, taking children, bombing hospitals, orphanages, schools, and social infrastructure?
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
Hamas.
Yes. And yes.
Okay, so Hamas did the same thing. Now, Israel has done what I would call, maybe it's just me in my old age, and I hope there's a modicum of wisdom in there, but when you build tunnels under hospitals, when you park your rockets and missiles in a mosque, when you have your weapons storage facilities in a school, in a classroom, and you launch missiles even though there's a ceasefire, there's something wrong with your head.
Yes, and I got to bring this up because I think this is important. It was one of the Israeli commanders that said, name me one other country that gave weeks' notice that they're coming. Name me one other country, he said, that took away the element of surprise going into battle, and yet were criticized. Hamas just launched missiles and absolutely killed everybody in a festival and raped them and pillaged and did everything else you can possibly, every disgusting thing on the face of the earth.
Abominations.
Abominations. And that's what the commander said. Name one other nation that's ever done what we've done. We warn the people we're coming. We tell them where we're coming to.
Okay, that's Israel. I wanted to get back to Ukraine. So I'm trying to draw parallels between the two situations, but I want Ukraine to be supported because they are the front line of what looks like world war shaping up. If you don't stop Putin now, you will have trouble later. Ukraine's willing to be the tip of the spear. Please, NATO. I don't know what's stopping NATO from saying, enough of this. You're killing, you're brutalizing people. We can stop this. NATO, are you listening? Is anybody home?
Yes.
Yes.
They're home. But I like that. They're the tip. We're the shaft.
Somebody's getting the shaft, that's for sure. All right, Jim and Terry Show. Signing off for now. Bye-bye.